Hello Army. What if the shadow everyone tried to zoom in on wasn't just a trick of the light? During Taehyung's live home tour, Army thought they saw something move behind him, a silhouette, a figure, a presence that didn't match the angle of the room. Within minutes, screenshots flooded the timeline. Edits went viral. Theories exploded. Was Jungkook really there? For days, the fandom was divided. Coincidence or confirmation? But now Jungkook has finally spoken. And Taehyung didn't dodge the question either. The shadow was real. And what they revealed next changed the entire narrative. The shadow was real for days. Taehyung said nothing. He posted photos. He replied to fans. He went about his schedule like nothing had happened. Meanwhile, the clip kept circulating, slowed down, zoomed in, brightness maxed out until pixels broke apart. Frame by frame, the silhouette behind him became the most analyzed evidence the fandom had seen in months. Some swore it was just lighting. Some swore it was staff, some swore it was him. And then Taehyung went live again. This time there was no tour, no music in the background, no playful distractions, just him sitting calmly, eyes steady, almost too steady as he read the comments. He didn't avoid them. About the shadow, he said softly. The chat exploded. He let the chaos roll for a moment, watching the flood of messages stack on top of each other. Then he leaned closer to the camera as if the truth required proximity. It wasn't a shadow. Silence hit harder than noise. He didn't smile. He didn't tease. He didn't turn it into a joke. Jungkook was there. 3 words, not dramatic, not loud, but they detonated across the internet in seconds. The fandom froze. Because this wasn't speculation anymore. This wasn't detective threads or slowed-down edits. This was Taehyung himself looking straight into the lens and confirming what everyone had been fighting about. He didn't elaborate immediately. He let the weight sit. He came over, Taehyung continued. We were just spending time together. I didn't think it was something that needed to be hidden or announced. There it was. The line that cut through everything. Not hidden, not announced, just normal. But nothing about it felt normal to the people watching because the live had felt intimate, personal, a glimpse into his private space. And now that private space suddenly included Jungkook. Quietly, casually, without explanation, the comment section spiraled again. Some celebratory, some emotional, some accusing him of fueling rumors on purpose. Taehyung's expression shifted. Subtle but noticeable. I saw the edits, he admitted. The zoom-ins, the theories, the arguments. His voice didn't crack. Didn't need to. You were fighting each other over a moment that wasn't meant to cause a war. And then he said something that no one expected. I didn't realize our existence in the same room would still shock people. That sentence lingered because it wasn't offensive, it wasn't apologetic, it was almost tired. He explained that Jungkook had been off camera on purpose, not because they were hiding, but because the live was spontaneous. Jungkook didn't plan to appear. He wasn't dressed for it. He wasn't prepared to be dissected in 4K resolution by millions of viewers, so he stayed out of frame. Taehyung said, "That's all. That's all." But it was never just "that's all" for the fandom. The narrative had grown bigger than a silhouette. It had turned into proof for some, betrayal for others, confirmation for the loudest voices. And now Taehyung was calmly dismantling every extreme interpretation without attacking anyone directly. He didn't validate the fantasy. He didn't crush it either. He grounded it. We're close, he said. We always have been. If he comes over, that's not a secret mission. It's just him coming over. The tension shifted from scandal to something heavier, something more emotional. Because the real shock wasn't that Jungkook had been there. It was how casually Taehyung framed it. And oh, the buildup. No dramatic confession. No cryptic hints, just honesty. And then, as if on cue, the door behind him moved slightly, not dramatically, not staged, just enough. Taehyung glanced back for a split second. His lips curved, not into a grin but into something softer. Familiar, he looked back at the camera. You see, he murmured. Footsteps approached. Slow, unrushed. The chat lost its mind, but Jungkook didn't fully step into frame. Only part of his shoulder appeared. A quiet presence, real, undeniable, but still not giving the internet what it desperately wanted. A full reveal. Say hi, Taehyung said without turning. A low voice responded off camera, almost amused. Hi. That was it. One word. And somehow that single syllable did more than 1,000 rumors ever could. The tension dissolved. Not because fantasies were confirmed, not because narratives were satisfied, but because reality had finally replaced speculation. Taehyung looked back at the lens one last time. "No more fighting over shadows," he said. "If there's something to tell you, I'll tell you. But don't hurt each other over guesses." It wasn't a scolding. It was a boundary. And as the live ended, the fandom realized something uncomfortable and freeing at the same time. The shadow had shaken everyone. But the truth was quieter than the chaos. And maybe that was the real story all along. Yet even after the confirmation, one question lingered in the silence that followed. If something this simple caused this much noise, what would happen the day they decide not to keep it simple anymore? The live ended, but the silence didn't spread. Not the chaotic silence of confusion, but the heavy processing kind. The kind where millions of people replayed the same few seconds over and over again. You see that look, that soft curve of Taehyung's lips and Jungkook's quiet hi. It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't staged. That was exactly why it hit harder than any scripted moment ever could. The timeline split in two. One side celebrated. Finally clarity. Finally peace. The other side questioned everything. If it was normal, why stay out of frame the first time? Why let the speculation burn for days? Taehyung didn't immediately return to clarify further. He let the storm settle, but Jungkook didn't stay quiet. 2 days later, Jungkook went live alone. And oh, the background noise. No music, just him leaning back, reading comments like he always did. Casual, comfortable until someone typed it. "Why didn't you show yourself during Taehyung's live?" He saw it. Everyone saw him see it. He didn't avoid it. "I didn't think I had to," Jungkook said simply. The chat exploded again. He continued, voice steady. It was his live, his space. "I was just there. Just there." It echoed Taehyung's words almost perfectly. He leaned forward slightly. "And honestly, I didn't expect people to zoom into the corner of the screen like that." A faint smile, not mocking, just aware. "I wasn't hiding," he added. "But I also wasn't trying to be part of the broadcast." That distinction mattered. He wasn't rejecting the narrative aggressively. He wasn't feeding it either. He was defining it. Someone asked if they knew the shadow would cause controversy. Jungkook exhaled through his nose softly. "We underestimated how loud silence can be." That line spread faster than any screenshot because that's what it was. Silence amplified by imagination. He didn't blame fans. He didn't shame anyone. But he did say something that shifted the atmosphere completely. "Sometimes you want everything to mean something bigger," he said. "But sometimes it just means we're comfortable. Comfortable, not secretive, not strategic. Comfortable." He paused for a long moment after that. His expression softened. The kind that doesn't perform for cameras. "You don't have to look for signs," he continued quietly. "If something important happens, you'll know." The tone wasn't mysterious, it was grounding. And that was when the real tension began because clarity created a new kind of curiosity. If this, a simple visit, a partial silhouette, caused this level of global reaction, what would happen if they didn't soften it next time? Later that week, Taehyung posted a photo. Nothing dramatic. Just a corner of his living room. The same room from the tour. 2 cups on the table and no captions and no tags. Within minutes, comparisons started. One of the cups matched the one Jungkook had used in a previous live months ago. Same design, same faint scratch near the handle. Coincidence or intentional? This time, neither of them addressed it. They didn't confirm. They didn't deny. They let it exist. And strangely, the fandom didn't erupt the same way because the energy had shifted. The shadow incident had forced something important into the open. Not a confession, not a revelation, but an acknowledgement. They weren't operating in secrecy. They were operating in normalcy. And that was more destabilizing than mystery. But just when things seemed calm again, Taehyung did something subtle during a fan interaction. A fan asked, "Are you alone right now?" He smiled slow, deliberate. "I'm never really alone." He didn't elaborate. He didn't need to. The answer wasn't romantic. It wasn't coded, but it wasn't random either. That line trended instantly. Speculation tried to reignite, but this time it didn't feel explosive. It felt restrained because now there was a pattern forming, Not of hiding, not of exposing, but of choosing what to amplify. The real shift wasn't that Jungkook had been in the room. It was that they refused to let the narrative spiral out of control again. They acknowledged, they defined, and then they moved forward. But there was one detail most people missed during Jungkook's live right before he ended it. He looked off camera briefly just like Taehyung had. The same micro-glance, the same almost smile. And he said softly, "See, it's quieter now." Quieter, not silent, just steadier. The shadow had shaken the fandom. The truth had stabilized it. But in that steadiness, something more powerful was building because now everyone knew one thing for certain. They weren't afraid to admit being in the same space. And once that line is crossed, the next one becomes easier. The real question isn't whether there will be another shadow. It's whether next time they'll step fully into the frame. The frame stayed empty for a while. No silhouettes. No half-shoulders drifting into view. No accidental reflections caught in glass. Their lives returned to separate broadcasts, separate angles, separate rooms, too separate. The fandom noticed the shift immediately after everything had settled, after the truth had grounded the chaos. There was a new kind of tension. Not explosive, not loud, just waiting. Because once you've acknowledged presence, absence feels louder. Taehyung went live first. Different room this time, not the living room from the tour. A softer space, dim lighting, his voice low and even. He talked about music, about creative blocks, about how silence can be necessary, but he kept glancing to his right, subtle, quick, almost unconscious. Nothing was visible. No shadows. Yet the energy felt shared. The comments flooded again. Is someone there? He read it. He always reads it. He tilted his head slightly, considering the question like it deserved a real answer. Why does someone have to be there? He asked gently. It wasn't defensive. It was reflective. Then he added, and why does it matter so much if they are? That shifted the room because now the conversation wasn't about a person. It was about ownership. The idea that every shared space had to be documented, proven, displayed. Taehyung leaned back. You don't see everything, he said. And that's okay. The live ended without incident, but it planted something a few days later. Jungkook posted a short clip. No caption. Just a few seconds of him laughing at something off camera. The laugh wasn't staged. It was sharp and real. The kind that escapes before you can control it, and faintly, barely audible under the laughter. There was another voice, not clear enough to identify, not loud enough to confirm, but familiar. The internet dissected it instantly. Voice comparisons resurfaced. Old interviews replayed. Tone analysis threads appeared within hours. This time, neither of them responded. Not immediately. The speculation wasn't aggressive anymore. It wasn't divisive. It was curious because now the mystery wasn't were they together. The mystery was, why are they comfortable letting us wonder? That was new. They had already proven they could clarify when necessary. They had shown they weren't afraid to address assumptions directly. So why let this one float? Then Taehyung did something unexpected during a casual interaction. He said a single sentence that reframed everything. Not everything that's shared has to be shown. It wasn't cryptic, it was deliberate. Shared, not hidden. That word echoed because it implied mutual understanding. A private agreement about what belonged to them and what belonged to the audience. The fandom slowly began to realize something uncomfortable. The shadow incident had never been about proof. It had been about access, and access has limits. Jungkook went live again shortly after. He looked relaxed, almost lighter. I think we learned something, he said without context. The comments demanded clarification. He smiled faintly. We learned that you trust us more when we're honest, so we'll keep being honest. A pause, but honesty doesn't mean exposure. There it was, the line clear, unshaken. He wasn't closing doors. He was defining boundaries. And somehow that made everything feel more solid instead of more distant. Then just when things seemed steady again, a photo surfaced online, not from them, from a third party. Blurry, taken from far away. Two figures entering a private building together. Caps pulled low. Familiar posture. Familiar walk. It wasn't confirmed. Didn't need to be. The fandom braced for another explosion, but it didn't come. Instead, there was restraint because now after everything, the narrative had matured. They didn't owe real-time updates. They didn't owe frame-by-frame explanations. They had already said what mattered. We're comfortable. We're not hiding. You don't see everything. That combination created something stronger than denial or confirmation ever could. It created stability, but stability doesn't eliminate curiosity, it transforms it. And then came the moment no one anticipated. During a joint event appearance. Controlled public official. They stood side by side longer than necessary. No dramatic gestures and no exaggerated distance either. Just proximity, natural, effortless. A reporter shouted a question from the crowd. Are you two trying to send a message lately? The air tightened. Taehyung glanced at Jungkook. Jungkook didn't look away. Then Taehyung answered, no debate. We're just living. The simplicity of it hit harder than any elaborate explanation ever could. No hidden code. No grand reveal. Just living. But as they walked off stage, cameras flashing, something subtle happened. Jungkook's hand briefly brushed against Taehyung's back. Not performative, not accidental, just instinctive. Most cameras missed it. One didn't. The clip circulated quietly at first, then widely. And for the first time since the shadow incident, neither of them clarified. Neither of them joked. Neither of them explained. They let it exist. Because now, after everything, the fandom understood something crucial. If there was something to deny, they would deny it. If there was something to clarify, they would clarify it. Silence no longer meant secrecy. Sometimes silence just meant certainty. The shadow had forced them into the conversation. The truth had stabilized it. But this felt different. This wasn't about proving presence, it was about no longer fearing visibility. And as the discussion softened instead of ignited, one thought lingered across timelines worldwide. If they're this unbothered now, what happens when they decide they don't need the shadow at all? The shadow was no longer the center of attention. It had evolved into something else, a before and after. Before the shadow, every shared detail felt like evidence. After the shadow, every shared detail felt intentional. They didn't disappear. They didn't overcompensate either. Instead, something shifted in their dynamic in public spaces. Not dramatically. Not in ways that screamed headlines, but in ways that felt deliberate. Taehyung started mentioning Jungkook's name more casually during conversations. Not as a punchline, not as a tease, just naturally. I was talking to Jungkook about that. Jungkook recommended this. Small sentences, effortless. Jungkook did the same. Taehyung told me not to overthink it. I was at Taehyung's place the other day. No dramatic pause after saying it. No scanning comments for reaction. Just words placed calmly into the air. It unsettled people because there was no tension to feed on anymore and no denial. No nervous laughter. No redirecting, just comfort. And comfort is powerful. But comfort can also be misread. And a week later, a clip from an older interview resurfaced. A question about privacy, about how much of their real lives they were willing to show. Back then they had both answered carefully, smiling, diplomatic. Now that clip circulated alongside new footage of them standing closer than usual at an event, leaning into each other while listening to someone speak, sharing a quiet comment that made them both laugh. The contrast was striking. Back then they protected space by distancing it. Now they protected space by normalizing it.